Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. This is our first lineup builder AMA show for week 1 of NFL DFS 2022 fantasy football on DraftKings. We're going to talk about everything that my Twitch chat wants to talk about. If you don't know this, YouTube, we are live on Twitch 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. The Friday show is devoted to answering as many questions as I possibly can live. There is a link down below. It's in the pinned comments, smizzle.tv/links. That will take you to everywhere to talk about everything that we do here on this channel and all of my other socials. Our listener league is in that as well. Everything is in that link. So why don't I just bring in the chat and have them start asking me some questions. Let's go.
He's a legend.
All right, so we got the chat here. I've seen a couple of Aaron thoughts on every row. We try to stay away from thoughts questions on this channel. Convince me to play Aaron Jones. He's a good point per dollar play. You don't see it. Like, I don't try to convince anybody to do anything on a player basis. Like, I don't want to give you guys picks. That's never what I center my content around. Everything is more around the process of why, right? Having you understand the why. So I saw a question of like, why is Aaron Jones popping in whatever model I'm using? So like sometimes, depending on what projection set you're using, whether you're using Fantasy Labs or Establish the Run or rotogrinders or whatever that you're using, some of them are going to project the player higher than other sites. Now, what people are projecting for Aaron Jones before any of the wide receiver pass catcher nonsense on Green Bay that was coming into this week is he was going to take on a much larger role in the passing game this season versus previous seasons. So with the absence of Devontae Adams and the, let's say, I mean, it's Green Bay, right? So like the greenness of who they have in the wide receiver room, right? With rookie Christian Watson and rookie Romeo Doubs and Sammy Watkins, who really only shows up for week 1. So I guess Sammy Watkins is going to have multiple touchdowns this week, right? It's that time of year. It's week 1, Sammy Watkins, 2 touchdowns because it's week 1. That's not real advice. That's sarcasm. So Aaron Jones expected to take on a much larger role in the pass game, not unlike what he saw at the end of the season. 6 targets, 10 targets, getting that Alvin Kamara usage. I reference this all the time. 12 to 15 carries with a lot of usage in the passing game. So he's basically a glorified wide receiver at that point. I don't know that he's going to have the same touchdown upside as he had in previous years. He is ridiculously efficient inside the 5-yard line. So that will always have projection heads, spreadsheet people wanting to project him for a percentage of touchdowns. It remains to be seen though, right? This goes into it's really great time of the year to be contrarian, weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, because we think we know based on, previous year, previous 3 years, trailing offensive coordinator tendencies, offensive tendencies, but we don't know yet. So I don't know. I can't tell you with any certainty whether AJ Dillon or Aaron Jones is going to get the majority of the inside the 5 carries. I can tell you with certainty that Aaron Jones has been very efficient in his career on inside the 5 carries. We know how good he is in the passing game. Also, AJ Dillon quite good in the passing game, or better in the passing game than people had thought. But it does look like they're going to go with a thunder and lightning sort of approach here, with using Dillon as the pounder and then using Jones as the finesse back, and probably playing both of them on the field at the same time. So I can definitely understand certain projection sets taking a stand on Aaron Jones. I think his price is forgiving enough at 6,700. It's not really a week where we need value. There's a ton of value. There's some at running back, less so than other positions. Wide receiver, there is just a metric ton of value, which is allowing people to pay for whatever running backs they want. And so if you think that he's going to be a lower percentage played player, fine. I don't think he's a cash game running back that I would want. That list is a little bit shorter for head-to-head games. You're going to have at least one, if not both, of Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey in your head-to-head games, because they just project too well, right? So you're going to have one, if not both of them. And then it comes down to who else you're going to pair if you're playing 3 running backs in cash, whether you want Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley, Antonio Gibson, wherever. That's kind of where the other cash game running backs are looking for me. So like, if you don't want to pay for Taylor and McCaffrey, you think that you want to just block whichever the higher played one is going to be. It's probably going to be McCaffrey because he's a little bit cheaper, has more usage in the passing game. And then you go with somebody like Eckler for a little bit of savings, or go with Mixon or Kamara for a little bit of savings in cash. I'm fine with all those routes, but you're going to have one of Taylor or Christian McCaffrey in cash game. Taylor and Pittman in cash. So here, again, I'm glad that we have this show, right? Because here's the thing. You said don't stack in cash, being people saying to me, right? So like, I'm not I correlate in tournaments. I don't correlate in cash. Cash games is more about playing the best points per dollar plays with the high floor, high ceiling combination. Both of those guys have it. So if you wanted to play two players like Taylor, two high volume players like Taylor and like Pittman projects to be, in a game where they have a team total of over 27 points and project to get the volume that they project to get, I'm not against playing two plays that project as a value in cash games. That's always fine. You're never going to hear anything negative from me in terms of that. Did want to remind you guys about the Smiz Gang Listener League. We are at 2,100 entrants. It is about 9:30 a.m. on Friday. We are tracking ahead of where we were last year. I really hope that we fill this thing because it is absolutely no rake. DraftKings doing this for our community as a favor. You don't have to pay any service fee. Every single entry that goes in, all of the entry dollars that go in get paid out in prizes. $4,000 to first, 3 max tournament. Come enter. I will shout out everybody on the recap video, which will be on the Fantasy Football channel every single Monday, first thing. That's the first video that goes up every Monday of the next fantasy football week. Go to smizzle.tv/links. That will take you to the link tree. You can see it right here. Smiz Gang Listener League. You can click it right there. So all the questions of how do I get in your listener league, link down below in the pinned comment. It's also in the description. Go to the link tree, smizzle.tv/links. And there you have it right there, along with everything else. My Twitch stream, Instagram. Here's our Discord, biggest value add for channel members on the channel. Our No Kid Hungry fundraiser, where we're trying to raise $100,000 by the end of the calendar year from our community, both on Twitch and Twitter and Discord and Twitch and everything else and YouTube. So be a part of something bigger than yourself. Find all the links to everything right there in the link tree. King Spence, thank you for the 30 months. Appreciate you. Yes, definitely feed. But where's the cheese? It's under the sauce. Cheese is under the sauce. Saquon Jones and CMC in cash for you, pending no Lazard. So Alan Lazard, there's some danglers, right? I don't know how else to put this. There's some injury danglers that are out there right now, and sometimes news breaks during this show that we record every single Friday during NFL season. But I kind of feel like Lazard is we don't know. Rondale Moore looks like a negative. Zach Ertz is a we don't know. Who's the other guy dangling out there? There's one more player. There's Lazard, there's them. Deontay Johnson, the other dangler. Deontay Johnson is a massive play every week on DraftKings. Always, right? Always cash game viable. But if he's not there, that basically pushes Pickens. That basically pushes Claypool into a much higher volume of snap roll and therefore higher percentage of target. So we'll see. Did I see AJ Dillon tweeting the doc about Tarkov? I did not, but if AJ Dillon's into Tarkov, I will definitely run some raids with AJ Dillon. So AJ, if you want to run some raids, let me know. We'll get on in there. We'll take care of it. We'll get some quests done for you and everything. I run with a pack of murderers in the game. Isabella inbound for AZ. So I don't know if it's going to be Isabella. Isabella plays a lot on the outside. Moore plays a lot in the slot. I think it's going to be a different receiver. I'm going to have to dig more into that as we move along. But like I'm not sure that it's just going to be a 1-to-1 where if Moore is out, then Andy Isabella plays all the snaps. I'm not 100% convinced that that is the way. So take that as you will. But like we're going to have to hold on and wait. Because I think that there might be another answer. Like there's just so many people that are out. Marquise Brown at 6,200 is going to be extremely popular. He was going to be popular from go, right? So like I think you're going to see a whole lot of secondary stacks with Marquise Brown and one of Travis Kelce or Juju Smith-Schuster in tournaments. So he was always going to be popular. He was always going to get 25 to 30% of the target market share while Hopkins is out. AJ Green gets a little boost. If Rondale Moore is out, that's one thing. I think it might be Dortch, who played a lot of slot snaps in the preseason in the case that Moore is out, and not Andy Isabella, who played a lot more outside. That's not canon, right? Don't quote me on that. Do your own research. Look, like, because I'm not 100% sold yet, but that's where I'm at. If it comes down to Dortch or Isabella, That's kind of where I think we are. We'll figure it out. You don't see a questionable tag. Moore injured his hamstring in Thursday's practice, is set to undergo an MRI. We have not seen that MRI as it is still early Friday morning here on the West Coast. So we have not seen a result from that MRI, but that might break during this show. If not, it'll definitely be out afterwards. And I'm sure that the YouTube replies are going to let me know. Rondale Moore is out! As soon as he gets, like, everybody wants to let me know. I get it. Guys, we'll figure it out. You're not sold on Andy. Andy's great if he's going to play. But it's not just wide receiver snaps that are available. It is specifically slot snaps that would be available if Rondale Moore is out, because AJ Green will be on one side and Hollywood Brown will be on the other. And so it's slot snaps that have opened up. And if they're using him as an outside receiver, Andy Isabella, which is how they deployed him in the preseason, it's going to be somebody else. What's the deal with Travis Etienne Robinson situation? Who's going to eat? Why did I read that in my mind in Jerry Seinfeld's voice? What's the deal with Travis Etienne? Well, in my opinion, the deal is that eventually they plan to go 50-50 with that duo. I think that they're going to split time. You know, I think that that's kind of where they're going to end up. But I don't think that's where they're going to end up in week one. James Robinson made a miraculous recovery from the Achilles injury that he had. He's not on the injury report. Everything that they have said, you know, head coach Doug Peterson made it sound as though there's no limitations, but like everybody else is saying, because the coach is never going to give away what their game plan is, right? That's just not what they're going to do. But like, I think they're going to ease him in for the first couple of weeks. I could seriously see Travis Etienne getting 70 to 75% of the snaps and touches, specifically in week one here. Now, as the season progresses, if Robinson's health stays the same, I think that they're going to use Etienne as a change of pace back, not quite like a JD McKissick or Nyheim Hines, right? More 50-50. I'm thinking of a split like Melvin Gordon III and Javonte Williams saw last year, where like Robinson gets 45 to 50% of the snaps and touches and Etienne gets the other one, specifically in long down and distance, in 2-minute drill, in passing situations where they use Robinson as the pounder. But this week, I think we're going to see more Etienne. So Etienne at 5,600, I'm totally fine with, even though he's somebody I was not drafting through draft season at his ADP. It's never about the player, guys. That's what you need to understand. It's never about the player. It's 100% about the situation. It's 100% about the price. It's 100% about the draft cost, the equity that you have to put in. Right now, and I could be wrong, I think Etienne sees 70+% of the snaps and touches in week one for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So at 5,600, specifically on DraftKings, where it's PPR, I'm way more fine with Etienne Jr. than I am on like FanDuel, where there's half PPR, no bonuses, all that sort of thing. Do with that information as you will. We'll take a look on the recap video to see if I'm right, because we'll have the weekly sheet where I can see snaps and touches and everything else. You love Etienne's receiving prop? What is Etienne's receiving prop? Is AJ Green dust? I mean, he's not what he was 6 years ago, but like he's still solid. The over is 21 yards. Yeah, that looks like an over to me. Is that up right now? Speaking of that, why don't we just go over to Underdog Fantasy and take a look at what these props are? We'll fill out a prop sheet. How's that? Let's do that. We'll go over to Underdog Fantasy. We're going to take a look at this real quick. So every team is going to be on here. Let's sort by NFL. If you are not already on Underdog Fantasy, great site. Fantastic best ball product. Best ball season's over. They filled $10+ million of entry fees for their best project. During the season, my favorite thing to do on Underdog Fantasy is to play a little pick'em. It's higher and lowers, overs and unders using fantasy. You can pick 2, 3, 4, or 5, and you can get insurance. It's kind of making it like a teaser. You only need 2 if you can miss 1, right? But it pays out way less. So what do we have? So we've got Elijah Moore, 4 receptions, higher. What else do we have? Who are we looking for? We're looking for Etienne. Okay, where's Etienne? Etienne, there he is. Etienne, 49 rushing yards, 22 receiving yards, 12 fantasy points, higher. Scoring on Underdog Fantasy is half-point PPR, so always remember that as you're going into this. The other thing, unders are, and lowers and unders, those are way more sharp. They're smarter, right? They have more ways to cash in than do overs, right? A player can leave the game with an injury and all of a sudden it's an under. Maybe they just don't play, kind of like Cam Akers on Monday night, and then it's an under. I like to play the overs because I like rooting for good football. So I'm going to go higher on Christian McCaffrey. We're going to play this for $25. You get a $100 deposit bonus if you use promo code ALSMIZZLE. That's all one word, ALSMIZZLE. We're going to submit that. I don't want the insurance. We're going to try and get that 6 times payout. There's my card. Higher, 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 because we're over donkeys. That's fine with me. Over gang, represent. Feels bad to be in Pennsylvania. Damn it. Romeo Dubs. I know his name is pronounced Dobbs. No disrespect, but I want the big dubs. Just smash over on every prop. Yes. I'm not rooting for punts. There's some people that are out here with Ace Rothstein glasses and a pencil trying to scribble down. Let's see, where can I find an under? Who's going to punt? Where are the punters on the field? I don't want any punters. This is fantasy football. I want good football. I want to scream at my screen. I want to be happy. I want to be elated. You got to sit there anti-sweating and under all game. That's lame. I'm not rooting for punts. If Rondale Moore is out, who's the best one-off wide receiver for 3,400? For 3,400, for 4,000. So I think you got to bump up to 4,100 in that case. Can you give me that? Can I go there? Can I do that at least? All right. So 4,100. So you got Zay Jones, who is Josh Norris's favorite player. I think Pickens in the case, Pickens is an if-then statement. So that's another thing that I got to talk to you guys about. Always have your if-then statements ready. If Deontay Johnson is out, then George Pickens becomes a smash value at 4,100. Kadarius Toney, really like him at 4,100. If Rondale Moore is out is the question. Don't really love Berrios. Not buying Wilson Jr. in this spot. I'm never saying his name. Palmer is interesting for tournaments because really high total, isn't going to get volume. I don't like him for cash. But if you want to get different in a double stack with the Chargers, I'm fine using him. In terms of like guys who project to have a good points per dollar, if you're just looking for a filler spot that should have a solid floor with the possibility of a ceiling, Jahan Dotson at 3,400 looks really good. That was the spoiler alert when I said 3,400. Paris Campbell at 3,300 as a little bit of a pivot off of all of the chalk that's going to be on Pittman at 5,500 for use in a double stack or just to differentiate. And then there's a couple of 3K guys that I like in there as well. One of them, we've said a couple of times, Romeo Dobbs. Again, if-then statement. Monitor the Lazard situation. If Lazard is out, Romeo Dobbs becomes one of the best values on the slate. If Lazard is in, Romeo Dobbs is higher variance because he may get 3 targets and he may get 7 targets. More touchdown reliant if Lazard is playing as opposed to if Lazard is out. Also, you can include the tight end Tunyon in that. If both of them are out, Dobbs becomes a much better play. Then you have Wan'Dale Robinson also at 3K. So tons of value at wide receiver. DJ Moore, good for cash. You only have 6K left. So we're looking in the 6K range. So cash games separate from tournaments. This is, I know I get asked this question a lot at the beginning of season specifically. What is a cash game? What is a tournament? A cash game is a game that pays out, let's say 33% or more of the field. So a triple up, a 3-man game, a head-to-head, a 50-50, a double up, all of those things pay out more. And the second caveat is that it's a flat payout. If you're in a double up and it pays the top 50 and 50th gets paid the same as first, you don't need to come in first. You don't have to be faster than the bear. You only have to be faster than that guy, right? That's the concern. So you're looking for high floor plays that may also have the possibility of having a high ceiling. In tournaments, floor is less. I don't care. I don't really care about floor in tournaments. I care about correlation in tournaments. I care about lineup building in tournaments. And I care about game theory in tournaments. I'm not fading anybody in cash. In tournaments, I'm going to say, okay, if everybody's going to be on player A, I'm going to find a way to, if their lineups fail, how can their lineups come down and my lineups go up at the same time so I can leverage the field? So there's more game theory in play in tournaments than there is in cash. Cash, play the best players on a points per dollar basis in as many spots as you can. And then with that last spot, like pick something cool just said, pick the highest volume guy that you can find in that range. So in that range, right? I don't know exactly how much you have left, but like in that range, Brandon Cooks at 6,300. Already talked about Marquise Brown. He's going to be a very popular play in tournaments. I think he's around 15-20% right now on everything that I've looked at. That might go higher by the weekend. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God, also a very good play. High target share guy. Hey, he catches 202 balls every single day. His dad was Mr. Universe. Like we know 2 times back to back. Like we know all these things about Amon-Ra St. Brown because we all watched Hard Knocks. T. Higgins, less of a cash game play for me, more of a tournament play for me. And DJ Moore, you know he's going to get a ton of volume, right? You know he always gets those targets. They have not materialized in terms of touchdowns, but yeah, he's fine in that range. And again, another if-then statement, something we have to monitor. If Darren Waller pops up on the injury report on Friday or Saturday, he's not currently on the injury report as of 2 days ago. If he is out, that opens up a lot of targets for somebody like Hunter Renfrow in that same range. So Renfrow is a play for me if Waller's out. Some of these if-then statements might be more likely to you than if they're not, than currently are. So that's the long form. But that's why I like this show, because I can really dig in to all of your questions instead of just like giving you a one-word answer in the YouTube replies or limited to 240 characters on Twitter. Also, if you're not already, make sure you join the Discord. If you're a channel member on YouTube or if you're subscribed on Twitch, you have access to all the VIP rooms in Discord with our 5,500, 6,000 people that are in there. You have a lot of people to talk to pretty much around the clock. Daily fantasy can be an extremely isolating endeavor, right? You're all alone. Well, you're not all alone if you're a member of the Smizz gang. So if you want to become a channel member, you get access to those VIP rooms. So get on over to Discord. Easiest way to get there. There's that link tree again, right here. Join the Discord. Pin comment down below, right down there. Smizzle.tv/links will take you there. That's how you do it. Chargers triple stack. Doubles only, please. Triples too far. What do I think about Alec Pierce? I think he's a rookie, and I'm not sure what his snap count's going to be in week 1. Rookies tend to grow as the season goes along. Right now, they have a professional receiver on the other side. I think he's big, and he could find a touchdown, but like I'm not sure that he's going to see more than like 3 targets, 4 targets. So I don't know how much I can trust him at this point, because I don't know how much he's going to be on the field. The Discord is amazing and non-toxic. We've spent like 5.5 years cultivating the community in Discord, and it's in my opinion the best community on daily fantasy Twitter. It's the best community in daily fantasy. People are in there all the time talking about whatever sport you want. We have a cash game group that sits in there in the voice chats every Friday and Saturday night. People will jump into the tournaments channels when NBA lock gets here. Everybody's in there. What is my take on New England's running back situation, having no Ty or James White? So James White's gone. We don't know if Ty Montgomery is going to be going or not. Like right now, he may go. Also, there was a report this morning that the Patriots are thinking about scrapping their entire offensive scheme. I don't know what to make of what's going on there. Ramondre is my favorite back in that backfield, and Jacoby is my favorite wide receiver on that team if I was going to roster. He led the team in targets last year. I know that he had the whole touchdown thing. That's not really a thing anymore. Also, he led the team in targets with the first team in preseason games, like by a large share. And in practices where like the beat writers track that, Jacoby was far and away their number 1 targeted wide receiver in New England. Antonio Gibson or Goddard at flex. I'm not going to be a double tight end guy. So it's going to be a running back or a wide receiver. How much volume do I project for Dameon Pierce? It's going to be game flow dependent. Like if they start getting throttled, which is certainly a possibility considering how much they have gotten throttled by this Indianapolis Colts team the last 2 years, the things that they don't do well, Indy does do well. He could be a 12 carry guy. Now, if it's a more of a neutral script situation, maybe Indy turns the ball over early, and maybe they return a kick for a touchdown or return they get a lead, and now they can pound with Dameon Pierce a little bit more. Obviously, he would have more volume in that situation. We also don't know what his usage is going to be like in the passing game. Is he going to be a 2 target a game guy, a 4 target a game guy, or a 6.5 target a game guy? We don't have that answer. He can catch. We just don't know how they're going to deploy him. In this situation, I think he's fine for GPP, but I would not touch him in cash because there's so many other known high volume spots with usage in the passing game and inside the 5 touches on higher team total. Like it's not a necessary spot to go in cash games. You want to play him in a tournament because you want to get frisky? Go ahead. Everything's viable in tournaments, guys, as long as you can rationalize it and correlate it. When do I do my top stacks rankings to do the bring back players? No, I just worry about the value of the stack and the ceiling of the stack. It's never about the bring back. Bringbacks are always there. There's always somebody on the other team that you can find that's going to get some volume, right? Which high played team stack will I be under the field on? I have not made that decision yet. I don't start building my lineups until later this afternoon. I have not made any lineups for DraftKings this week. Okay, that's a lie. I have to make one for the Fantasy Focus podcast on ESPN, but like, it's not like a lineup that I spend time on. I'm just like, all right, I'm going to double stack something for the ESPN audience. I'm going to have a secondary stack, but like, I have not entered like a lineup into anything. You stack Burrow. If you watch the top stacks video, Bengals are the #1 stack. That's a tease. You guys should go check out the top stacks video. There's probably going to be a card right up there that you can go click and go watch that video. Not during this one. Finish watching this one, but then after, then go watch the top stacks video. Is stack of a defense with a running back still viable? It's not as correlated as people want to think. There's the narrative, but like on the correlation matrix, it does not match up as well as you'd think because their touchdowns don't link up and carries just aren't worth that much. For defenses, I really only want to target a pressure defense, a defense that has the ability to get pressure against a team that projects to drop back a lot. Like you don't want to play, I was going to use this team, but like whatever. A few years ago, I'll use this because it's a more known analogy. Remember Mitch Trubisky's rookie year when he was on the Bears and like when he took over, they were not going to drop back more than 10 times. It's like the Bears had like the lowest team total on the slate every game that Mitch Trubisky was their starting quarterback that year. However, they'd only drop back like 8 or 10 times a game. So where does all the scoring happen for a defense? Scoring on defense happens on passes more often than not. You have sacks, you have strip sack fumbles, you have fat man touchdowns, you have all those things. Obviously, a running back can fumble on a rush attempt, or you can return a kick for a touchdown, but those are somewhat random. So you want to capitalize on your point scoring possibilities, and that means targeting a defense that is playing against a team that is going to drop back to throw a lot. And it can even be a really good offense with a really high team total because the points against don't matter. You just want to pile up sacks. Yeah, they matter, but like the upside is in the sacks because the sacks can lead to touchdowns and pressures can lead to bad throws to the outside that can lead to pick sixes as well. That's what you need to focus on. Deontay Johnson said he will play in week 1. So this is when I cosplay Star Wars from like Empire Strikes Back. The first transport is away. Yay! And like all the guys on Hoth just like, yay! Big Deontay Johnson fan. I'm happy that he's playing. So Miami defense against New England. How many dropbacks do you project for New England? Miami is a very high pressure defense. I like that part. I don't mind Miami's defense. I like them. But you'd have to project that they're going to be playing from ahead and New England is not going to be able to pound the ball and play slow. If that is the game script or game flow that you are projecting for that game, then yes. Somebody said, why not a Chargers stack? Go ahead. I have no problem. Look, if you want to stack Justin Herbert, who has like 9 or 11 300-yard games last year and really only 4 players that he throws the ball to, I'm not going to tell you no. Love Herbert. I see C. Diggs. Of course a Chargers stack. Yes. Goddard or Hawk at tight end. I prefer Goddard. But it's not like Hawkinson's bad. Or Hawkinson. It's not like Hawkinson's bad. I just have Goddard a tick higher. Great advice on defense. Never thought about amount of dropbacks. Yeah, like, so the Bears had like team totals of 11 that season. People are like, I'm going to play the Bears because I'm going to play against the Bears because that defense is not going to give up very many points. Well, like, yeah, but like a shutout, you get 10. If they kick a field goal, it goes down to like 6 and you're not getting any sacks because they're never dropping back at all. So you don't have a possibility for a ceiling if you're playing against a low drop back team. So like Trey Lance, yeah, he's going to be, he's going to throw a lot of incomplete passes. He may fumble, but he's not going to throw the ball a lot. So there's no chances for sacks. Maybe he throws it 20 times in a game. How many interception opportunities are you going to have on 20 throws as opposed to 40 throws, 45 throws? You want high dropbacks. You got JT, CMC with Hurts and Goddard in your current cash game lineup. Yeah, cash games are pretty easy this week. And there are some weeks, I know people feel like I say that all the time, but I don't. Cash game lineups are very easy to build this week. They really, really are. There is so much projectable volume, and DraftKings turns the salaries. They don't ratchet, don't tighten the screws on you in week 1 because they want it to be a fun game that people are playing. They want everybody to have a really good time playing in week 1. So because they want everybody to have a really good time playing in week 1, the salaries are really low. How do you figure out how much a team drops back? There's math. Like that's what projections are. Like this is how you get projections. You figure out how many plays do you project for each team in that game based on the pace of both teams. What is the pass percentage of a team How much do they pass in neutral game script situations, and positive game script situations, and negative game script situations? Then you put those percentages into the amount of plays, and you figure out about how many times they're going to throw a pass, about how many times they're going to run. Like, this is, right? We're a very projection-based game at this point, and so all these things are somewhat projectable. The difference is touchdowns mess everything up, because touchdowns are way more random than like literally everything else. And touchdowns, because of the nature of them, it's an event. You know, like one guy gets a touchdown, he gets 6 more points. It's like, that's as many points as 3 10-yard catches. Cash play is volume, stacking not required, 100%. Is there a real revenge narrative with Baker Mayfield this week? Should I build some lineups with him? So like, here's the thing. I'm sure he wants to win that game, but how do you quantify revenge? And I'm going to say it. If Baker Mayfield like runs in a touchdown or wins the game or like gets into the end zone, does one of those poses that he does, like, I'm going to type revenge, right? Baker revenge game in all caps on Twitter, but like, how do you quantify that into a projection? You can't. It's a fun narrative. Like, is he just going to try harder? Like, does that imply that he doesn't try his hardest at other times? Am I worried about Allen Robinson at all after last night? Hell no. In fact, if you're playing in a season-long fantasy league and somebody that has Allen Robinson, you think that they're nervous and biting their nails, go trade for him right now. If you're playing Rainmakers and people are panic selling Allen Robinson, go get him right now. I'm sure that everybody is talking about that in the HQ. Our Rainmakers channel in the HQ has been absolutely hot, and everybody's doing really well in there from what I see. Working the market, playing the games, and working themselves up through the tiers. If you wanted to be a part of the the Smizgang HQ NFT part of our Discord, where those Rainmakers channels are, including one that has all of my gameplay and investment market advice for specifically that game, go to smizzle.tv/HQ. That is also in the links command that is in the pinned comment down below. It is under the sauce. 0.1 Ethereum will get you in there. You can go to the Discord, also in the link tree, if you do play Rainmakers or are interested, as it is a very hardcore game. If you wanted to be a part of a community that is smartly trying to attack it and everybody trying to make money, the HQ is where you need to be. Why was Akers projected so high going into the game? No one could answer that. Like, Razzles, are you saying that you knew Akers was going to get as few touches as he got last night? I mean, he had been a do not draft play for me all summer long. Like, the videos will show that. I also did a whole thing about how Henderson, on one of the videos 2 weeks ago, Henderson being an 80 pick ADP difference between the two, when one was said there was going to be, well, it's not, we don't have a superstar running back anymore, right? We have a 1 and a 1A. And then on top of that, in the morning, like, projections are going to do what projections are going to do. Explain to me why McVay didn't hand the ball off to Hendo and get 5 yards so we could win 17K. I don't know. That would have been nice. Came in second again, by the way, in the first showdown. That last sack of the game by the Bills took first place away from me and from Mike. You know, Mike's right over there. Jim, how's it going, Jim? Rip Cook, though, another player that I'm not victory lapping after week 1, but like, it was absurd all offseason that Singletary was going below. Like, the ADP on all 3 of those Bills running backs was Cook, Singletary, Moss. Yes, you knew that about Akers. All right, well, you probably made a lot of money last night then. You probably bet every under. That was the way to go. I didn't have a lot of Akers because I've been on the Henderson train all summer, but like, asking why projections are a certain way is because projections have to work on what is going to be projected. And if you're going to go off the reservation, especially a lot of them rely heavily on Vegas and props and totals like that. Like, Akers prop last night was like 49 yards rushing, and projections mostly reflected that, or at least close to it. Also, rip week 1 Shefty War Room build. So he got unlucky, right? Because he had Williams, and Williams got injured. He, like, you know, he injured his ankle. He got a high ankle sprain yesterday. So like, it feels like, after seeing what we saw, it feels like Shefty was right and got unlucky. Like, he kind of knew something was up there. Akers over under on carries was 11.52. Like I said, if you knew that, all the unders were there for you to bet. Like, it was free money. If you knew Akers was going to get no run, if he was going to get like 5 touches last night, and it was certainly going to be the other guy or the other 2 guys with Kyron, all the money was there for you for the taking. Which late game do you think would be the game to swap to if the morning game doesn't go as planned? It's going to depend on percentages, and percentages aren't solid yet. I wanted to look for the right way to put that, right? So projections, roster percentage projections, ownership projections aren't solid yet. Like, I was looking at all the sites because I got 5 under 5 coming up later, and I got them right here. Notice I'm not showing you the side that has a 5 under 5. You got to look out for that video on Saturday morning. That one's going to debut on the channel Saturday morning on the main channel. It's right on the back side of this. Man, those look like some good plays. But I kind of had to really dig because it doesn't look like the projections are very efficient right now. They are way different from one site to the next. And some of that is because there's a lot up in the air right now. As we've said earlier, there's a lot of things hanging up in the air. There's a lot of injuries that we don't know yet. We just got one, apparently, if Deontay Johnson said that he's going to play, but there's a lot left. And that's going to massively change things because you're losing one high percentage play. A guy like Rondale Moore, who I believe will be out. Once he is officially out, he drops to 0, and that percentage has to get soaked up somewhere else. So where is that percentage going to go? And where is that extra money going to go if the percentage goes up on somebody like Dobbs, who's 3K as opposed to Rondale at 4K, leaving people another $1,000 in salary to spend? Now, other people, it's not just going to affect that one player. The way that it's going to work out is it's going to affect a lot. Lazard not practicing today. That's the alarm bell. Okay. I did this on stream earlier in the week. So like Wednesday practice reports, I don't really react to Wednesday practice reports. Wednesday practice reports get like one of these for me. Such and such didn't practice on Wednesday. If they don't practice again on Thursday, now my little rabbit ears are sticking up a little bit. Now I'm paying attention. Now I know I got to watch. If you didn't practice on Thursday, now it's a thing. They don't practice on Thursday, and a lot of barking. Start barking. Yeah. If they don't practice on Friday, like, it's barking dog alarm everywhere. So Wan'Dale or Dobbs at this point. Right now, assuming Lazard out, let's assume for the sake of this discussion, okay, UNC? For the sake of this discussion, let's assume Lazard is out. So I'm probably looking at their wide receiver room, right? So if Lazard is out and Tonyan is out, 1, Aaron Jones is solidified. 2, I think Dobbs's playing time just goes up, right? Snaps that he's on the field goes way up. And at 3K, he's really solid. And I would probably prefer him because of touchdown upside. Similar volume to Wan'Dale, right? Similar projectable volume to Wan'Dale, who is also in play at 3K. But I believe it's going to be a faster paced offense, even though I think Green Bay could play slow or try to play slow. So more snaps. Similar target market share, similar overall targets projectable for Wan'Dale and Dobbs in that situation, but Dobbs has much higher touchdown equity. So I would probably side with Dobbs in that situation. Sammy Watkins, week 1, 40 fantasy points incoming. It's week 1. I'm not going to argue that. Has to bump up Aaron Jones targets as well. It could. Jones's over-under is 4 receptions right now. Yeah, bet that. Who's a lock for a Survivor League? I don't know. I'm not doing a Survivor League this season. I usually, in Survivor Leagues, I'll typically take the largest home favorite. I think anti-Survivor Leagues are better, though. I think anti-Survivor Leagues are better than Survivor Leagues, where you have to pick a team that's going to lose. Because if you pick a team that's going to win, you're always picking on the same terrible team every week. Like 2 years ago, you're just playing whoever played Jacksonville, right? They were going to lose every week. Or the Jets. They were going to lose every week. I mean, doing the guillotine. Don't think they did it at ESPN. I don't think they did the guillotine. Or if they did, I just wasn't invited. One or the other. So, like, picking a team that's going to win, you're just going to pick on the worst team in the league over and over and over. You're basically going to play whoever's playing the Falcons most weeks, right? But I kind of feel the other way. I like the anti-Survivor Leagues where you have to pick a team that's going to lose, because then you can only pick, like a couple years ago, I don't know who the worst team is going to be this year. Atlanta and the Jets. Who knows? I don't know. Whatever. Like if you pick like Atlanta, you can't pick Atlanta again the rest of the year. But like if you playing a Survivor League, you can pick against Atlanta like almost every week. Yeah, that's how it works. Once you pick the team, you can't use them again. But that's why anti-Survivor is better. You have to pick a loser every week. So by like week 8, you're out of trash teams. Now you've got to make some decisions. Leave the Jets alone. Flacco's starting. I've heard he's elite. Should we stay away from Eagles running backs? They are always burning you. I'm going to preface this by saying that I'm probably going to have to duck after I say it. I think Miles Sanders is a good value this week. I think he's a good value. He was, this is not a teaser. He's projected at over 5%. So he's not on the 5 under 5 video. But if he is under 5%, he's fantastic. If he's under 10%, which he will be, He's fantastic leverage because everybody and their mom is going to be on Hurts, and everybody's going to want to play Goddard because he's showing up as a great value at the mid-range, and he just kind of fits with a standard roster build right now where you spend and save where you're supposed to spend and save. He's the best guy at tight end in the range that you're going to have left, because you're not going to have the money to go up to like Andrews and Kelsey, and you're going to have like 1,000 left if you pay down for like the Irv Smith, Hayden Hurst, whatever type guys. So Miles Sanders is just like the guy who is nobody's going to play. Massive offensive line, defensive line mismatch. Philly with one of the best offensive lines in the league, and Detroit with a bottom 5, bottom 10 defensive line in the league. There's a lot of paths to Miles Sanders doing way better and exceeding his salary expectation, and doing it at a really low percentage in tournaments. I think he's a fantastic leverage play this week. If you love your lineup, you're not GPPing correctly. No, not this week. Just joined the tournament on DraftKings. Really enjoying the content. Thanks for that. I appreciate you being here. Welcome to the chat. Avalanche, your first time here. Drop a follow on the channel and hope you stay around. What is my most popular sub 5K wide receiver for cash? Sub 5K. That's a wider range. So let me look. Sub 5K brings in a whole lot more because like I already did the guys that are 4,100 and down. I'm not going to stick to your rules. My show, I do what I want. I think Elijah Moore at 5,100 is really good. Kirk below Moore for me. Deontay Johnson said he's going to play, so that for cash, Claypool is not an option. Not really seeing a cash game play in this range. Myers, Jacoby Myers is definitely viable for cash at 4,300 with as many targets as he gets. So really high floor play, and if he can wander himself into the end zone, great. But that's about it until we get down to those 4,100 guys that I talked about earlier. Sammy, I was not going to talk about. More Andrews, secondary stacks, low. More? Oh, yeah. From Jets and Baltimore, yes. You said Moore, and I was like, Rondale? But yeah, Elijah Moore and Andrews, really good secondary stack. How do I like Jameis, MT, and Olave stacks, large field MME? It's not going to be played a lot, so you're going to be different. Jameis is looking like a good value in a lot of different projections. Here's the thing. I'm just going to say this. One, you guys don't need my permission to play a double stack in tournaments. This is important, okay? This is very important. You do not need my permission to play a double stack in tournaments. What it needs to do is make sense. So here's how it makes sense. Do you feel like the quarterback can put up 30 plus points on DraftKings? For a lower salary quarterback, like Jameis is on the lower end of the salary scale right now, right? Like, isn't he like around 5K? Jameis is 5,300, right? So does Jameis have a path, let's say, to 5Xing, like 25 plus points? Ideally, we'd want 30, but he's really cheap. So what is his path?
He's a legend.
Hey, Mos, thank you for the 20 months. What is his path to 25 plus DraftKings points or 30 plus DraftKings? If you can reasonably and rationally find a way to that point output, and probabilistically it is greater than the amount that he is going to be played in tournaments. So if you think there is a 12% chance that Jameis Winston has greater than 25 or 30 DraftKings points, let's say 30. If you think it's a 10% chance he's going to be there, but he's only going to be 5% played, then you're on the right side of the math, and that's what we're trying to do. Is it going to happen every time? No. But when it does happen, right, on the games where Jameis Winston does put up 30 points this week, what does that look like down the ballot? What type of a game if he puts up 30 DraftKings points? That means like the 300-yard bonus and 3-4 touchdowns. What does Michael Thomas look like? What does Landry look like? What does Olave look like? And or what does Alvin Kamara look like in that situation? So like I said, you don't need my permission. You don't need my permission to play that double stack. You need to work yourself through the reasoning and get yourself to that point where I think this is going to happen at a greater percentage than the field is going to play him. And when it does, I'm going to have this completely unique double stack that goes along with him, who will get pulled along by his great day. And in that case, you will put yourself in position to win the tournament. You don't need my permission. You don't have to play the best combination out there, the highest rated combination out there, the highest projected ceiling combination out there. You have to rationalize the game theory of that stack, that quarterback, probabilistically versus his ceiling, and in combination with what percentage that double is going to be played in tournament. Do I like Mariota at all this year? I mean, I'm a Mariota stan. I really like his game before they wrecked him. But like, he was a very efficient quarterback who had the ability to run, and they tried to not let him run, and like, it was stupid the way that they handled him. If Mariota had came into the league 3 years later, his career would have been way different, because the league is way more accepting now of quarterbacks who just run the ball 8 to 12 times a game, where they were not accepting of that when he was a rookie in his second year. Mariota was free in best ball. Yeah, he was the last round pick in best ball. But like, coaches weren't accepting of running a quarterback 10 times a game. They just weren't. And that was probably the best way to deploy Marcus Mariota as your quarterback, and they would never allow it in Tennessee. So it was dumb. But he never threw interceptions in the red zone. He had a really high completion percentage. Like, all the things that you would want, like, just let him run. Like, that's how he would be most successful, but they wouldn't let him do it. So like, Sanders over Gibson and GPP. Gibson's going to be higher played. So yes, I always like the lower percentage guy with a similar ceiling in tournaments. If you tell me they're a couple of points away on ceiling projection, but one of them is going to be 15 to 20%, the other one's going to be 5%, I'll go with the 5% guy and give up a couple points in ceiling projection, because that's how you have to think about it. Michael Thomas hasn't been Michael Thomas since he got paid. Michael Thomas hasn't played. So we don't know if he's still that Michael Thomas, because we haven't seen him play. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure that you jump in the Smith Gang Listener League, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Go check out the link tree. That's got all the links that you need to go do all the things that you want to do. Let's fill this Listener League before kickoff on Sunday. Good luck to you. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.